I'm wondering.
Looks like we're live. Um, a little bit earlier than we were anticipating, but we're running a little bit behind. So we're going to condense the nonsense and get to it. Today, we're going to talk about the steps of creating your ideal client, the client avatar process, which is a huge process in our Unstuck session. So I'm Brian.
I'm Brandy. Did you miss me?
We'll get to you after the intro. Talk to you in a second. Peace. I really do need to upload the Unstuck video because it looks different than that one. But it is what it is. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about a product, a piece of business that is really intrinsic to the way that we do marketing and the way that we target your marketing, and it's the client avatar process. And so we're going to go through some of the steps that are laid out and kind of explain what each part of the process looks like. Brian, what is important about the client avatar?
The client avatar gives you a direction for targeting your audience for your product or services.
Right. And having a target audience is imperative so that you're not wasting money trying to sell products or services to people who aren't appropriate for those products or services, because typically that ends up spending a lot of money. And it also has a negative outcome because you're not who they need. And people may react negatively if they feel like they're investing in a product that they didn't originally need in the first place. And so that's what the basis of the entire client avatar process is. And I talked about it before. This is something you want to get super granular and you want to let your imagination run wild. You also really want to try to get in the mind of your client. So that's what we're going to do. And Brandy and I are going to kind of tag team these questions and different steps along the way. If you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and pop into the chat and we'll try to answer them. If we don't answer them here, we'll try to answer them on a subsequent live stream or even maybe via email. So, but we'll go ahead and get started here. All right. So step one with the client avatar is you're going to want to, this is the research part. This is not the fun part, but it's what you need to do. You need to get as much information about your product, your target market, who your competitors are. And basically, you want to sit down and think about who is this service for? And really, really, really dig into that piece of it. But you're going to want to use your existing tools to track data. So interviews, surveys, asking people on social media, asking potential clients what they think about different aspects of a service or product, asking them, hey, do you guys have problems with this? What would you think about a solution that does blah? And you're really leveraging your immediate social network to get data and get information. Because the reality is we have a lot of ideas throughout the day, but you really shouldn't launch a product or service without a client base in mind. And so this is really kind of defining who your client base is. But, you're asking people what they think about different aspects of of the potential service or product that you have in mind. And so, like I said, use the survey features. Facebook has surveys. I think Twitter has surveys where you can really ask for input and get a good basis. And I think even I've seen surveys where they even ask, how much would you pay for a service that did X, Y, and Z? And then they give bullet points for that. Anything?
No.
Brandy hasn't been here for a while on this one, so trying to get her reacclimated to the process. All right.
Excuse me. Sorry. Hi. Hello.
All right. So the next part, Brandy, can you go ahead?
Yes, I can. So the next part that you're going to want to do is define the demographics. So you can start with basics like age, gender, location, and start getting more granular by going into like things of their education level, their occupation and income level, maybe what the size of their family is, uh, and what their marital status is. Just defining their demographics as much as possible. You know, it could be something that is US based, it could be something that is globally based, it could be something that is specific to your region of the world, whether it be, you know, in the US Midwest, the South, uh, East Coast, West Coast, you know, or something worldwide. Um, Sorry, I'm the goofy one. If you guys haven't realized and you missed me. But defining your demographics is a key area as well. So that way, when you go to place ads or things like that, it's like in Facebook ads, you can go and get more detail oriented on where those ads are shown.
Well, and according to the marketing lore, there is, you know, like I think it's Alta, they actually have a name for their avatar. So they really drilled into it and they listed how old she is, you know, how many kids she has, and a lot of other aspects that we're going to get into. But they named her, and the way that they evaluate products, if they're going to bring on new product lines into the store, is whether that avatar would buy that specific product. And so spend a lot of time here and defining the who. You know, and demographics is kind of a top level, but we're going to start to get into other things. And so that leads into the next one is you're going to want to define goals and aspirations. What does this client avatar want? Why are they, you know, what problem are they presenting that they want to solve by buying your product or service? So identify long-term goals, short-term goals, knowing their motivations, and what they aspire to be, and make it relate to the specific product or service. But you really want to take time so that they can, you know, more or less, so you can really think about, this is what this is what this client wants, and this is how this product or service is solving their specific line of problems. And so, I just, like I said, you really want to spend a lot of time with this piece of it, because that's going to help, in the long run. If you know what your client wants, you're going to know what products are going to satisfy their needs. And also what future products are going to solve any further needs. And this goes into a different live stream that I'm going to do, in the future about the Life Force 8. This is for marketers, but it also, you know, it gives a lot of good stuff for business owners too, where you really get a chance to look at the prime moving factors of living beings and determine, you know, how do we message this product to satisfy their desire for companionship or fulfill their need to keep up with the Joneses? How can we position this product to meet these specific human core drives? And so this kind of crosses over into that. So we'll be doing another one that really dives into that piece of it. So, all right.
So, Bry kind of led into the next point, which is discover what are their challenges and pain points. What is it that they are actually trying to solve? What is the solution, or what is the resolution for the problem that they are having? You know, is it, if they're in the beauty industry, is it wanting smaller pores, clear looking skin, something that makes their eyes pop? You know, is this something that they want to be able to do quickly, or is this something that they're willing to take time to do? Um, you know, challenges and pain points are different for every person, but it could also be, is it cost efficient? You know, the cost of something is just what somebody is willing to pay for it to solve a solution. It doesn't necessarily have to go into, you know, is that so expensive, or is it too cheap? You know, those kind of factors come in, but at the same time, and if they want that solution, they're going to find a way to cover the cost.
Right. And so pain points, frustrations, and speaking of pain points and frustrations, are you a business owner that has pain points and frustration in their businesses, in your business and operating your business, specifically with your marketing? We have a solution for you. It's called the Unstuck Sessions. Um, the very first meeting is a diagnostic meeting, which we call a sticking points meeting. And in that meeting, we're going to get all into your business. We're going to crawl into your business and really try to extract the points that are holding you back. After the sticking points meeting, we're going to provide you what our findings are and put together a plan to get your marketing moving forward. Whether it's you need to implement a newsletter, whether you need to have some kind of social media plan to roll out, if you need video content, we're going to put those pieces together. And if you don't have the ability or the desire, or you need some help, well, we can produce content for you. We can help out manage your social media or write newsletters and things along those lines. We have a capacity to do a lot of things. And so the sticking points is really designed to address the common pain points of small business owners. And so that's something that we're really passionate about. And if you're interested in setting up your sticking points meeting, go ahead and shoot us an email. At the email scrolling at the bottom of the screen or right there, mail@isellwords.net. And you can schedule a consultation to get started. So don't stay stuck with your business. It's time to get unstuck. All right. I had to throw in the little ad there. You see how I did that?
Yes.
All right. That was kind of smooth transition, right?
Sure. About as smooth as some of the stuff you listen to on YouTube, but that's another story.
All right. All right. So we talked about uncovering. Wow.
Yep. We want to undiscover. You want to help you undiscover where you're stuck.
We talked about uncovering challenges and pain points. The next thing is this is where we're going to start putting our brains around the buying behavior. And so this is where you do want to kick your imagination in and identify what is the buying behavior of the client that you want. And yeah, you have the ability to say, I want clients that enjoy my product and they feel like they're getting the best value for their money and they wouldn't, trade me for love nor money. You can really sit down and put your mind around that and say, I want dedicated clients that will pay every single month for this specific service without question. And really start thinking about, okay, so how do I get to that point? How do I make this service fulfill those needs? And you're going to identify how your ideal client makes purchasing decisions. You want to understand what their shopping preferences are. Do they prefer to buy things online? Are they somebody who enjoys the brick and mortar experience of actually walking into the store? And look at what factors influence their buying choices and really kind of craft out how these people purchase things. If they're online, do they prefer the credit card? Do they use debit card? I mean, this is where you do want to get granular. Are they a subscription payer? I want to pay everything in one shot and get it for a lifetime? This is where you figure this piece out and figure out where your product aligns in there. All right.
Oh, so the next thing is to consider psychographics. Why do I get the big words? Basically, when you're trying to figure out their psychographics, you're trying to figure out more or less their personality. So this can be the fun, creative part of your client avatar. Is this somebody who is bright and vibrant, and really outgoing, or is this someone who's more introverted? What kind of things do they like to do for hobbies? Are they into sports? What is their attitude and lifestyle like? Just any other information that makes you get into a deeper insight of them psychologically.
Right. You want to know what they do, especially if you're providing a service that is recreational, based. You want to target people that have the same recre.
This is what happens when I come along.
You're going to want to target somebody that has the same recreational interest as your product. So if you are selling golf clubs, you're going to want to probably target people who have one of their hobbies is golfing. That's a good place to start. And so this kind of information is vital. It sounds basic, but you do need to spend some time here and understand, okay, what do they like to do in their downtime? Because it also allows you to identify where they are. Where do they spend their downtime? Are they in golf groups on Facebook? Okay, then you need to be in golf books and Facebook, building relationships, talking to them on a daily basis, getting their feedback, and then have the ability to drive them towards products. And so it is important to know that kind of stuff. All right. Next thing, and we just talked about it, but you want to give your avatar a name and image. You want to personalize this avatar. And even finding a representative image, maybe something online where they look what they look like in your mind's eye. Um, it makes it easier to humanize them and think of them as a real person with real interests and real motivations and real needs and real pain points. If you do this, if it's just this amorphous entity that you have in your brain, it's easy to stray off the track. And so you really need to spend some time here and figure out what this person's name is and and what you visualize them to be. All right.
Next, create a story about them, how they grew up, where's the background, what are some of the things they experience on a daily basis. Are they a commuter back and forth? Do they work from home remotely? Give them routines, give them hobbies and how they spend their day, to kind of better give them more of a feel of being real to you.
Right.
So besides giving them just a name, give them a narrative also.
Right. Are they the go-getting type A personality? Your marketing is going to have to speak to type A personalities. If they're a little bit more kind of like me, where I'm the introvert, you're going to have to find marketing that's a little bit more evocative to bring that desire to want to interact with other humans out of me. And so, but this is where you sit down and create their story and give a narrative to who they actually are. All right. 9. I think we're about 9 steps in. So this is where you're going to want to identify objections and reservations. You're going to want to think about why they won't buy from you, and answer those objections. And this is where you answer those objections up front in your copy. If you think price point is an objection, then you talk about that and say, hey, we are not the cheapest option, but if you utilize our service, you will get more than your value. And you're really sitting down and thinking about where they might be objecting, the reservations along the lines of, I'm thinking if you're selling like a workout product or something, well, I need to go talk to, I think Alex from OV did this one. I think you gotta go talk to I gotta go talk to my husband or wife. And the concept is, so if your husband or wife says they don't want you to get in shape, is that going to be the thing that stops you from getting in shape? Well, no. Well, then what information do you need from them to make a purchase decision on this one? But you want to take time to sit around and think about potential, stoplights are going to throw up, and give them space and comfort to make good decisions about the purchase decision. So this is where you want to spend some time thinking about objections that they may have, and they may be objections that you have. And if you address your objections to buying your product, then you may address theirs. Does that make sense?
Yep. But it also, in the long run, when you are talking to someone, you already know what the answer should be. So it gives you a step to creating a script for you to continue to go on with. It also gives you the ability to, if they're going to object, to feel comfortable with your answer. Because if you don't feel comfortable with your answer, your client's going to read all the way through that, um, and know that you're not comfortable
Right.
with it. And so having objections and reservations to things isn't abnormal, but it also speeds up the selling process of whatever it is you're trying to get them to purchase, because now you don't have to wait for a spouse or a second party or give them the time to think about it overnight. More than likely, you're going to increase your close rate on that initial contact by having those observations already, or reservations and hesitations and objections already out there.
Right. And I do want to go back to the confidence piece. If you aren't certain your product can solve their problem, they're not going to be certain that your product can serve their problem either. So you really want to be versed and even be prepared for objections. So be prepared to answer them and navigate them through the decision making process. All right.
So next, go into validating and refining your avatar. Just because you create one today doesn't mean a year from now you don't need to go in and update that. Continuously update that. Continuously do all the steps in this process. Um, redevelop their narrative, go back and update maybe their education and income and their demographics. Maybe even may even need to go in and redefine what they look like and rename them, and that's okay. It Understand that you can have a base avatar and then create something else for another product just based off of that base avatar, so that you can more specifically target a group of people that is for another product or service that you offer. So client avatars are like us, they're always evolving and growing and changing. Your business should evolve and grow and change as well. And if that's the case, your client avatar has to grow and evolve with you.
And that was the point I wanted to make. Your business matures, your client avatar may change. You may be kind of targeting somebody who's a little bit different than when you started out, but the reality is experience tells you, real world data tells you, okay, it's time to take this avatar and go back to the lab and figure out, okay, how can we update them so they're an accurate reflection of who our client base is now and who we want moving forward in the future. Um, if you're having services that don't if you're struggling in getting the right kind of clients, the right um,
The
if,
right person
the
for your product or
right.
service.
If you're struggling and getting clients that are always, people are always complaining about the price, or they're always asking for services that aren't right in line with what you want, what kind of services you want to provide, it's probably a time to go back and reevaluate your client avatar and then adjust your marketing accordingly so that you're attracting the correct kind of clients. And so that's really what that piece is constantly updating that client avatar based on the data that you're getting from the real world transactions that you're doing. And if you're serving clients that aren't making you happy, or you're frustrated because you're constantly in the price wars with them, then it's time to adjust that client avatar and go back to the board and figure out, okay, this is not what's working, or I need to pick my channels a little bit better and maybe not market as much here, or redo my wording so that people have different expectations of when they register or sign up for my service. And so it all starts with that client avatar. If you want to change your business, you need to change your client avatar and then build all your marketing around that. All right. So understand, you want a relatable avatar. You want them to feel like a fully fleshed out human being. Um, you don't want, just kind of this general amorphous individual or person or entity that really doesn't have its own personality, wants, desires, needs, family issues, history. You want somebody that has all those things. So when you come up with your client avatar, you really have to invest time into it. It's almost like doing a character sketch for a book or a story for my writers out there, where you sit down and you think about what is this character's actual motivation, and then you build a story around that. You're figuring out what your client avatar's motivation is, and then you're building products and services around that. And then you're really constantly optimizing it and tweaking it to get the right market fit. All right.
So, can I add on to that as well?
Yeah.
Also, a client avatar, make sure you're not trying to hit a moving target in the dark. It helps you to develop a better aim at your target, as we stated at the beginning. It's your target audience, your target individual of who you want. So when you have that, you know, you get a better understanding of, while you can serve anyone, you're not made for everyone. And once you realize that, like, you can focus your marketing so much better with that. Um, their thing. Everybody needs water. Everybody needs air, but not everybody wants filtered water, or can have a filtered water system in their home, for example. So once you realize that your audience just needs to be a little bit more narrow, you can target more. And the more narrow you get, the more focused and satisfied not only you are with your clients, but your clients are with you. And that is a great feeling when you're helping service someone.
Right. So that's what we got. If you need help with the client avatar process, this is something that we know how to do. It's best that you contact us so that we can sit down and kind of start walking you through that process, because it's really, in our approach, the client avatar is pretty much everything your marketing revolves around. You're creating specific messages with people, with specific real life people in mind. And so if you're having struggles with this is something that you need to schedule a sticking points meeting with us. And so when I post this, when this goes live, I'll circle back around and post the link for our, sticking points meeting in the description. It's a fee to get us, to book out the time, but we want to keep it bite size enough that it's, cost effective for business owners that they're still kind of early in the pathway and early in the journey. So we'll post the link for that, the sticking points meeting, to get things rolling. And I think that's about all we got. We got some stuff that we got to go take care of. So we're going to cut the live stream here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian.
I'm Brandy. And if you miss me and want me back, let me know.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.